So as we YouTubers do, when a new movie in a major horror franchise comes out, we've got to do a new ranking. So let's do a new ranking of the Scream franchise, including Scream 6. And I can promise you, it's gonna be a Scream. Guys, Nick here from the Lost River Drive-In, and tonight we're going to be doing a new Scream franchise ranking. Now, before I get into this, because I know that the hardcore Scream fans are very, very passionate about their Ghostface, and I would consider myself a pretty hardcore fan at this point. Grew up with these movies. This new trilogy beginning has really, really roped me in. I feel like I'm there with you guys. Some of you guys live and breathe it. I'm not there, but I'm pretty close. So I thought, I just want to give a disclaimer. I think that this franchise is one of the most, if not the most, consistent horror franchise out there. So even my least favorite is a movie I would still watch and would still give a passing grade to. But having said that, let's get right into the list. And at number 6 is going to be Scream 4 from 2011. Now this one's hard because I know it was Wes Craven's last contribution to the franchise. I love the commentary in this movie. I feel like that it was a very ahead of its time, and I think that that was super intelligent. I loved to see the core trio back. Here we go, messing with the OG trio, saying core. We'll get there. I really like to see them back. I thought they were all very strong in this movie. I think there's some really good kills in this movie. Some of my favorite Ghostface lines are in this movie. Unfortunately, I don't care a lot for a lot of the characters. Kirby is incredible. The best character in this franchise since Randy. And I still believe that. I still believe that. Sam, Tara, none of them have broken that barrier yet. They're very close. But I say Kirby is the best since Randy. But a lot of the teenagers, they're just here for fodder. They're not really people you really get to know. I'm just not big on all of them. I'm not big on the Instagram filter. I'm not big on some of the comedy. I'm not big on the killer reveal. I know a lot of you guys that love this movie love the reveal. I've just got to say, I like Emma Roberts. I think she's a good actress. I just don't know if she was right for this role. But that's just my opinion. It hits different with other people. They really love it. They enjoy it. And I'm happy for you. I really am. But Scream 4 for me is a movie that as I watch it as the years go on, it kind of ages worse and worse for me. Whereas some of these other ones age better. I feel like it's more dated than any of the Scream films, personally. But that's just my opinion. So that's number 6. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Scream 3. Now, this one, I would say it's a pretty sizable jump from 3 to 4 for me. Although 3 is at number 5, this is a super fun time. Scream 3 is an R-rated Scooby-Doo. And I don't mean that in a bad way. People will use that as like a negative, something to throw on this film. Like, oh, it's like a Scooby-Doo. I love it. I think that Scream 3 is infinitely rewatchable. It's fun. It's funny. Roman is I love the reveal in Scream 3. I know it pissed a lot of people off because it undermines Billy and Stu and all that. No, Billy and Stu were teenagers. It makes sense to feel like there was somebody behind it pulling all the strings. So I've got to go Scream 3 at number 5. I really, really enjoy this movie. I think it's funny. The parts of this movie that I don't really enjoy, ironically, are some of the super meta on the nose stuff with Stab 3 and those actors and those characters. I'm just not big into it. But the second half of this movie, I think, is incredibly strong. I love the third act with Sydney and Roman and in the house. Halloween H2O shout out. I really, really dig this movie. So Scream 3 comes in at number 5. But like I said, it's a pretty sizable jump from 4 for me. Coming in at number 4 for me is going to be Scream 5. Now, this movie was my number 2 for a while. And I don't know what it is. It doesn't age poorly at all, but I feel like a few of these movies ahead of it age better. And so it's like Scream 5 is really good. I really enjoy it. I think it was a great reinvention of the franchise, but like some of these ones just, they have this staying power, and I just cannot deny that I feel like they're more rewatchable. I feel like they're more effective in what they do. So Scream 5 is going to be number 4. Having said that, Scream 5 introduced us to a lot of new characters. Ones I liked, ones I didn't care much for. But I feel like that wasn't their fault. I felt like the focus on the OG trio and especially in the second half of this movie, took away from a lot of the development and a lot of the screen time we could have gotten with these new characters. So I wouldn't say that the OG trio is shoehorned in, because they never are. They're the original trio. But I just feel like we needed a little more time to breathe with these new characters. We didn't get it so much in Scream 5. Also, Amber, dude, saw you coming from a mile away, but Richie is fantastic. There's really not a lot about this movie that I don't like. I think it's funny. I think it's got good kills. I think it's got some decent suspense. I really like Scream 5, but it's number 4 for me, and I'm pretty confident in saying that as I sit here today. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Scream 2. Now, when I was a teenager, this was my favorite Scream movie because I felt like it did everything the first movie did, but added some suspense onto it. You know, I really felt like this movie was genuinely suspenseful. I thought it was unique. I thought it was inventive. And I still do feel those things about this movie. However, the third act of the original Scream is vastly superior to this movie. Vastly superior. Now, the Nancy Loomis, Debbie Salt, whatever you want to call her, reveal is really, really cool. But Mickey is another one of those killers where it's like, and I love his charisma. He is incredible. But you knew it was him. You knew it was him. It did not surprise you at all. So, whatever, you know, but it just pales in comparison to the first film's third act, in my opinion. But Scream 2 does everything the first movie does just as well, aside from the opening and the third act. And I think that's why now, as an adult, I can say it's not as good as the first one. And I know some people will hold true that it is as good, if not better than the first one. And, I mean, I'm happy for you. And I was there at one point, but I'm not there right now. Maybe 10 years from now, I'll say, no, Scream 2 is the best, damn it. But right now it comes in at number 3. I think it's a really, really solid sequel. Not solid. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best number 2s, period. So I like a lot about this movie. I don't like that they killed Randy. I'll never forgive them for that. You guys are bastards. Bastards. Coming in at number 2 is going to be the newest addition to the series. That's right. Scream 6 is my number 2. And I do not care. I am very, very confident in saying that. Scream 6 was a movie that I had a lot of hype for. I was really, really excited for it. The trailers really got me. I was interested to see what they would do without Nev, because she is my favorite final girl. It is one of my favorite horror series. I was like, okay, I will trust you, but you better deliver. They deliver. Scream 6 is, I think, an amped up version of Scream 2. I mean, the third act, very similar motives, you know, good old-fashioned revenge. I love that. There's literally no better motive than that. I'm not excusing them doing what they did. I'm just saying if your motive is just old-fashioned revenge, okay, I can see it, whatever. I think that this movie is the most suspenseful in this series, period. There were multiple sequences, the subway, the ladder scene, Gale's attack scene, that literally had my palms sweating. Like, I was worried about people. I haven't felt that way about a Scream movie in a long time. Scream 5 had one sequence with Wes's scene in the kitchen, but that was it. The thing about this movie that really jumps out to me is the core 4. Dude, I was not sold on them in Scream 5. Especially Mindy and Sam. I like Tara and Chad, but Mindy and Sam, I was like, Mindy, you're trying a little too hard. Sam, it was no knock on Melissa. It was just like, they're not giving you the limelight like they should. They're not writing you the way I think they should. I think that got a lot better in this movie. As far as Sam's character development and her arc, she is written better. She gets front and center stage, and she delivers. A powerhouse. Best actor in this movie. Period. Plus, I freaking love Chad. I thought Mindy felt more organic here. She genuinely made me laugh my ass off. The third act is wild, and it's crazy, and, it's just kind of like, all right, we're in a Scream movie, I guess, and I'm cool with that. It's not one of my favorite third acts. Obviously, the first movie and the third movie, I think, are my two favorite third acts in this series. But I enjoy it. I have a fun time with it. It's gory. It's gnarly. It's got some nice one-liners. And Sam and Tara really shine. So I got to put this at number 2, guys. I love this movie. I think that this movie is a blast. And, we can pick apart inconsistencies and, I don't know if this could work or that could work. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It gave me everything I wanted out of a Scream movie. I'm not going to rack my brain and make it hurt and go, well, what about, or how did, no. It was a blast, a fucking blast. Love Scream 6. It's number 2. And it should come as no surprise to you guys that Scream is number 1. And I know there's a lot of Scream fans that don't have this at number 1, and I respect the hell out of that. I don't have it at number 1 because, it's the first one. It's got to be the best, right? I don't think that's true for every horror franchise. I've actually gone on record multiple times. Nightmare on Elm Street, don't think the first is the best. Friday the 13th, don't think the first is the best. I don't think that is an unwritten rule. But in this series, I think it is. because it is the movie that subverted expectations, that rebirthed the horror and slasher subgenre in a totally new way, where it was just like, oh my god, this is unique, this is funny, this is refreshing. It did it better than all of the sequels, all of Scream's sequels. It did it better, probably because it was the first one. On top of that, the third act is the best third act in the series, the reveal. Even if you could say, well, I could totally see Billy or Stu, their chemistry, their reasoning, their camaraderie is just infectious. I love them on screen. This isn't even Nev's, this isn't even top 3 for her in the series, performance-wise, I don't think. She's not bad, but it's not even about that. It's just about, this was so unique. This was so important to horror. This was so fresh. This was so unexpected. And that third act, being the strongest in the series, tied the whole thing together. So I've got to go with the first one as my favorite. I really, really do. I think that this movie is super important to where we are today in horror. And as I wrap this up, guys, I've said this many times. You either like Scream or you don't. Like, it's either a series that's for you or it's not for you. You know, if you've never really been big into it, Scream 5, 6, 7, 8, 27, none of them are going to be for you. They're just not going to be. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you can't find mild enjoyment out of all of them. But none of them are really going to be for you if none of them up to this point have been for you. But for me, Scream is a series that I always loved when I was a kid. They were popular in the 90s. I was a 90s kid. They were always on the TV. It was in the zeitgeist, you know? Like, I was very aware of Scream growing up. So I've always been about this series. There's some entries in this series that I'm just like, those are pretty good. But there's also some entries in this series that I'm like, fuck me, wow, that was incredible. And it's more often than not, I say, fuck me, wow, that was incredible. So I love this franchise. I love that this fan base is so passionate. I love everything about where we are right now with this series and with horror and with the slasher subgenre. And again, I think we have Halloween and Scream to thank for that. And I'm forever grateful. I'm very excited to see what they do next. I really, really am. But subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already. Please leave a like on this video. Comment down below and let me know what your Scream franchise ranking is. I appreciate all the support. To any of you guys that are new subscribers because of the Scream content, thank you. Welcome aboard. I'm a big Scream fan. I hope you guys are too. If you're not, that's cool. I get trolls. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. So thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait to see what we get next with Scream. And I've got high hopes for this franchise moving forward. So I love you all. Take care of yourselves. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I am pulling out. Sydney.